My name is Robert Sutton. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Technology Solutions. We are a managed service provider and technology IT consulting firm. Today, I'm here to talk to you about backups and disaster recovery. Most times when you hear disaster recovery, or actually when you hear disaster recovery, backups are implied. Backups are going to be part of that disaster recovery design or solution, whatever it is that you have in place. If you have a disaster recovery solution in place, backups are the biggest component of that. Backups can vary greatly for a lot of people. There are a lot of different products out there. There are a lot of different methods and ways to go about it. Some people just copy data from one place to another and call that a backup. Realistically, this isn't really a backup. This is a copy of data. A backup would be a copy of data that is in a separate secured location that you know is safe. So if your building burnt to the ground, that copy of data would burn with it if it was in the same building. So it's not really a backup solution, and it's most certainly not a disaster recovery solution. You would be SOL in that particular scenario if you were just throwing a copy of data on a thumb drive or an external hard drive. Typically, real backups look like backups taken to an external device and then replicated and stored in a separate physical geographical location. You can do this a couple of different ways. You can do this through hybrid backup solutions, which give you a backup on-prem on a storage device and replicate that data out to the cloud. At Technology Solutions, this is our preferred method and our standard operating procedure for when setting up and deploying backups for our customers. You could also back data up to a physical device and then take that physical device to a separate geographic location so that if anything happened to the primary location, you would at least have a backup device in a secondary location. That's slightly better than keeping the backup data right there in your building, but still not as good and definitely not as secure, safe, or efficient or effective as doing a hybrid solution of backups on-prem and then replicating to the cloud, where your data is stored in multiple data centers and you don't have to worry about your data integrity. System state backups versus just raw data backups. Raw data backups are nice, at least you have the data and you know you have the data. System state backups are better when we're talking about actual IT infrastructure, servers, server operating systems, applications, databases, things of that nature. It's not enough to just have the data. In the event of an outage, you would have to take that raw data and mount it on something that you had to rebuild from scratch if you only had the raw data backup. If you had the system state backup of your servers and your infrastructure, you could actually restore your entire infrastructure to the point of time in the last backup. System state and all, so the same operating system, applications, the databases for those applications. So instead of having to build everything from scratch and then take your data and try to force it into that environment, you could literally just restore everything the way it was in the moment in time that the backup was captured. And that's why system state backups are the preferred method for enterprises and the method that Technology Solutions leverages when deploying backup disaster recovery solutions for our customers. Disaster recovery is simply a term that's used to describe a plan that's implemented in the event of a catastrophic disaster or failure, meaning your office gets wiped out by some kind of natural event like a tornado or a fire or an earthquake or so on. You would need to have a plan in place to implement recovery and restore operations for your business or organization. That is a disaster recovery plan. When people offer disaster recovery solutions, what they are implying is that that tool or the service that they're delivering will allow for rapid deployment of operational infrastructure from those backups that are being captured. This is the disaster and backup recovery solution that Technology Solutions leverages on-prem, replicating out to the cloud. With ease of deployment in the event of a disaster, we could spin up that server infrastructure in the cloud, in Azure, or Amazon Web Services, or Rackspace, or anything comparable to that. Or we could spin up all those servers on all new metal. Say the insurance company goes out, writes a check for all new servers, boom, restore backups, you're good to go, you're back up and running on operations. every time, the technology solutions method can actually get you back up and running faster than you can find an office to put all of your equipment. So a lot of times what we'll recommend is actually doing temporary restorations for disaster recovery to cloud environments so that operations can be restored as quickly as possible and you can get back to work. Then we can start the planning of getting you a new office, getting it wired and cabled, and getting all the new infrastructure hardware ordered, and getting everything transferred back over to that. This is just an example, but it is a very common example of backup and disaster recovery solutions. I hope this has been informative and you got something out of it today.